And it's 10:41 here in SVG and across the Eastern Caribbean. Welcome to the Shakeup program. Today's scripture reading is taken from Psalm 81, verses 8 to 10. Hear me, my people, and I will warn you. If you would only listen to me, Israel, you shall have no foreign God among you. You shall not worship any God other than me. I am the Lord your God who brought you out from out of Egypt. Open wide your mouth and I will fill it. Of course, for those of you listeners who are interested in making a contribution to today's Shakeup program, you can call us on air at 45, that should be 1784-457-9997, our Digicel number at 1784-532-9997, or you can WhatsApp us at 1784 457-9994. I'm Narissa Sandy, the technical operator for today's program. And now I'll take you over to the moderator, Mr. Augustine Ferdinand, who will introduce, as usual, his co-host. Good morning.
Thank you very much, Narissa. Good morning to you. Good morning to listeners of WEFM. Good morning to those of you who are joining us in the diaspora around the world. Greetings to those of you also listening via Star and Garifuna Radio. Charlo, good morning to you. Good morning to those who are listening throughout the Lantern Breath of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We apologize for the late start this morning. But as usual, the numbers to call and get interactive with us are 784-457-9997. That's 784-457-9997. And the numbers to call and get interactive with us are 784-457-9994. That's 784-457-9994. So, Charlo, yes, welcome. Usual Friday program.
Yes, man, it's good to be back in the Clean Fresh Song. Yeah, at Windy Point. You know, it's, as usual, I just like to pick up my what they call it, my fans.
Yes.
Retired Station Sergeant Jackson and Mespo, Carol and Noel from Sharps, Mrs. Duncan, Miss Kingston Park, Miss Murphy, Phil in the Market, Monica, Bethel, Johan Chang, Sister Jacobs, Bristol, Uncle Sam, Charge Up Mason, Retired Station Sergeant Aberdeen, Stepping Razor, not forgotten my good friend at Cherry's Bar at Chinatown. Do this interactive program, the number one talk show program in St. Vincent and Grenadines, and you just keep it clean and we'll take it from there.
Yes. Well, I think as usual we normally use Friday to wrap up the week.
Look back Friday.
I think it was yesterday, given the ruling by Justice Esco Henry on Monday. Well, the public knew of the ruling. It was released to the public.
Yes.
Monday, where she ruled in favor of the claimants, the members of the union or the unions. And I think it was yesterday, well, the Wednesday night, I saw releases from the unions. I'm talking about the Public Service Union and the Teachers Union in particular, where they urged their members, let me find it right here, where they said, by order of the court dated 13th March, the claimants never cease to be entitled to hold respective offices of public officers, whether as teacher, customs officer, police officer, or otherwise. And they went on to say that you are therefore advised to peaceably return to your place of work to recommence your duties immediately. It says, upon reporting for duty, can report to your immediate supervisor, and should you encounter any issues, please convey them to your respective union or association. And it went on to say, kindly share this post. So that was released by the Public Service Union and the Teachers Union on the Wednesday night. And yesterday I received numerous calls from respective persons asking me, well, what is happening, whether the government ordered those who were deemed to have abandoned their posts for them to return to work. Those who, of course, were claimants or parties in the case. And I told them, I know of no such thing. As far as I'm concerned, that the government is appealing the matter because the government strongly believes that the judge erred in her judgment. So for persons who are listening, the government haven't ordered those persons to basically return as if they never left in that manner. What I do know since last year, and we've seen many persons who reapplied, that is, and who got back into the service. But as far as I concerned, no such thing. So it's the unions who are taking this upon themselves. I know the Prime Minister called in on Star Radio this morning, Star Morning Scoop, hosted by Press Secretary to the Prime Minister and Mr. Denny, where he provided some insight as to where the state is on that particular matter, pertaining to a stay in terms of the judgment and also in terms of the appeal. So I'll play that for persons to actually hear this morning as to the progress on that, because I know there are many persons who are quite interested.
Definitely.
This is a case of not only national importance, it's also regional.
Yes.
So let's hear the Prime Minister on that particular matter.
First of all, persons may wish to know whether the government lawyers in what is now popularly called the vaccine case, whether the notice of appeal has been filed. The notice of appeal was filed yesterday. And sometime this morning, they'll be filing the application for the stay of execution of the judgment. They were a little delayed with both for simple reasons of timing. Though the judgment was the order was given on the morning of Monday the 13th. It was only after 4:30 that the order was finalized and sent to the Attorney General's chambers representing the government. Well, you couldn't do anything until you get the final order. This is where you're coming from.
Yes, absolutely.
Then Tuesday was holiday. And then the Attorney General's chambers goes to local lawyers here, communicating with the senior counsel who is currently in Antigua. And you could imagine drafting and redrafting, and different people have to read it and share it. So the notice of appeal was filed yesterday.
Right.
And I've been advised that sometime this morning, earlier rather than later in the morning, the application to stay the execution of the judgment.
Yeah, so the state already sent in the application for appeal of the judgment yesterday, and for application for stay in the judgment, basically to be sent in today if it hasn't sent it already.
Yes.
I listened to Lawyer Thomas, who called in on the program this morning, and he was explaining the stay. So I believe many persons who listen would know by now the importance of having a stay
Definitely
on the judgment. Because when I saw Jalo, the released by the unions, those two unions, the PSU and the Teachers Union, and knowing that the government is appealing this matter, and knowing that, of course, now we have to get a stay on the judgment, I asked myself, well, who are going to pay them, given the situation currently. So that's where we are in terms of the progress. The Court of Appeal, the application sent in yesterday. By now, the application for stay on the judgment would have already more than likely been sent in as well. But Charlo, on this particular matter, and why I said it's also of regional importance, it's just not national, it's of regional importance, is that there will come a time, still maybe in my lifetime or those who are younger than me, where you will have another pandemic. there's no if buts or maybe about that. In human history, we've had pandemics and we will continue to have them. As a matter of fact, as urbanization becomes the order of the day, and when I say urbanization, as in more persons living clustered,
Yes.
as you have the ease of travel, not only in terms of the speed, but even the reduction of travel restrictions in certain areas, as you continue to have that, and where you can easily travel from one part of the world or continent to another, diseases will easily spread. That's a fact. Diseases will easily spread. And in instances like that, persons, not only governments in St. Vincent and Grenadines and in the Caribbean, would want to know and to look back at a particular judgment like this and see how best they can go forward when faced with another pandemic. Now, if you have a judgment that says or suggests that in the instance of a pandemic, you may be quite limited in what you can do in safeguarding lives and livelihoods, then that's a serious situation that you'll face as a state, as a government of the day. Because what the government did in this pandemic, again, realizing what was taking place in neighboring South, which is Grenada, what was taking place around the world, the state had to act in the interest of saving lives, and that is of paramount importance and responsibility of any state. On the flip side, also, Charlo, I am quite sure that had the government not acted, you may well have had persons who came down with COVID because they didn't have these things in place to protect essential workers who could well carry the state to court.
A strong possibility.
And say that the state has a role and responsibility in putting whatever measures in place to reduce the risk and the spreading of a contagious disease in the workplace. Occupational health and safety, for instance. And they may say, well, because in their estimation, the government failed to do such, and where they come down with COVID and where they're experiencing serious ailment of COVID, or where someone or relative of them who are public servant died as a result of it, and based on contact tracing, it is shown that is in the workplace, they get it in the first place. And they didn't have these measures. They may say, well, so the government, because the government failed on their duty and obligation to put measures in place to significantly reduce the spread and the risk of an infectious disease, So all those things, those are issues you have to look at. And we must not forget that the leader of the opposition as well not only took his vaccine, but encouraged persons to be vaccinated. We must not forget that understanding the risk of and the nature of COVID-19, that the heads of the unions themselves got vaccinated. We must not forget these things when discussing this whole matter of vaccination and the vaccination program and those who were deemed frontline workers, given the risk assessment of their job.
Yes.
The nurses who have to deal with patients up front, and even though you may wear a mask, it's not foolproof. You have to do other things to basically reduce the risk. You have police officers, same thing. You can't. You may have to apprehend someone, and you just simply have to perform your task. Similarly for those who are teachers. And I remember even the vice president of the NDP appealed to teachers to take the vaccine. I remember that very well, Sinclair Leacock. Those are the port and the like. So we must not forget these things. Yeah. And it was necessary, therefore, for the government to act in that manner to safeguard lives and also to safeguard and protect livelihoods. Of course, the matter of stay of the judgment is necessary. because if you don't have a stay on the judgment, then it would deem that the judgment given by Justice Henry is in effect,
Yes.
more or less. And that would, even though you're going through an appeal, that's the nature of it, why it's necessary to have this stay. Because if you don't have this stay and the judgment remains in effect, but yet you're still, the stay doesn't affect the appeal, you could go through the appeal still without the stay. What happens at Court of Appeal if the court decides that really and truly, one, the judge did err in her judgment, and therefore persons were deemed to have abandoned the post, or going to get back money from people. Yeah. And I think that is also something that the Prime Minister said. But like I said, I thought about it yesterday. I mean, really and truly, all you gotta get paid.
But please explain the importance and significance of also filing the accompanying stay of execution of judgment.
Well, the reason why you have to file this stay of execution is obvious. The judge ruled that you have to, those who are deemed to have abandoned, that is null and void. So you'd have to pay them for the 15 months. And that is not the only issue. If you don't get the stay of the execution of the judgment, and you have to re-employ them, but it turns out finally that they had abandoned. And if they don't want to be re-employed because they had abandoned, you have those persons still being on the payroll. Now, let me say this. As a matter of policy, I don't mind if the persons reapplying, or indicating they want to come back. Even after we get a stay, if we get the stay. But the issue is, if you are rightly deemed to have abandoned, but because the judge said no, the judge at first instance, that people get their pay, not having work, how are you going to get back that money? Yeah?
Charlo and those listening, how are you going to get back the money? How are you going to get back?
As my grandmother would say, dead money.
Exactly. So I hope persons can grasp some of the important issues here, in terms of the stay, why it's necessary to get a stay in judgment. Like I said, it's a case not only of national importance but regional importance, because we are part of the same jurisdiction, court jurisdiction, and therefore decisions made at such a level are also binding on other states inside this jurisdiction in terms of the OECS.
Yes.
But yeah, that's a very important point, in that you're going through in appealing, and what happens at the Court of Appeal level, it's well, really and truly, based on the law, based on the issues at the time, and other factors, that those workers deemed to abandon their posts. But at the same time, because you have the teachers union and the PSU telling workers to return to work, are you getting about that money? Yeah. So those are critical issues there. The other thing, Charlo and those listening, is that let us not forget that there are persons who made the conscious decision also to be vaccinated. I think sometimes we forget that, or we leave that out of the equation. And not only the union leaders, not only the leader of the opposition, but also many public servants, who made that conscious decision to be vaccinated to protect themselves, to safeguard also their own livelihood as well. And you have, in the broad scheme of things, and like I said, there are times where you will have another pandemic, that this case, no doubt, or the issues dished out in this particular case will guide decisions later on in dealing with another pandemic. It's not whether another pandemic will happen, is when, because of the way the world is going in this particular time. So clearly, all these are very important issues that the state, and given it was necessary in acting in safeguarding lives and livelihoods. And like I said yesterday, Charlo, when some persons ask, well, why appeal? I get the sense that, Charlo, some persons believe that judges cannot err in their judgment. Yeah, Charlo?
That's fine.
You know, and I asked someone the question, well, if you don't think that persons, including the state, should have a right to appeal, then why on earth in 2009 this whole issue of whether we have privy council or not was a major issue? Yeah, is it just because they're aesthetics? They have meaning on purpose,
Most definitely.
you know. And the reason why you have appellant courts, court of appeals, or the privy council, is that even they themselves recognize that judges can err in the judgment. That's why you have these courts. Judges can err in their own judgment. They can be wrong at times. So this is a process, and I always believe in letting the process work. Now, Charlo, the interesting thing about it is that there are those now who say that justice is alive and well, and justice has always been alive and well. But God forbid, at court of appeal level, that the court rules in favor of the government. I'm quite sure you'll hear the opposite.
Yes, yes.
You know, that is something that I also find strange with some persons. But there are other issues, like I said, this is very significant, and at the very moment, the application by the state to appeal the judgment by Justice Henry was sent in yesterday. Of course, the application for the stay in terms of the judgment more than likely would have gone in already. And it's important because basically, if we leave the judgment as is, you're basically saying that the state acted wrongly in helping to save lives and livelihoods. And let us not forget that even the opposition, like I said, and I have it here, where he even mentioned that if you don't vaccinate yourself, and he was looking broadly at all Vincentians, that we won't have any recovery in terms of our own tourism sector here in St. Vincent and Grenadines. We cannot forget these things.
We have all the challenges now. Senator Peter spoke about the situation with COVID. Mr. Beach said he wouldn't talk about vaccination, but the truth of the matter is, without widespread vaccination, we will not recover the tourism sector.
Exactly. And he took the vaccine. His vice president urged the teachers to take the vaccine. Yeah. And let us not forget, again, sometimes we forget a lot of things. That the government also give persons, persons who had the medical concerns, who of course had the religious concerns, that there were exemptions provided for that instance.
Mm-hmm.
And let us not forget, and those who say that the government is wicked and what have you, that after we were returning to some state of normalcy, that the government provided the opportunity for persons to reapply. And there are persons, Charlie, you and I know, there are many persons, including a prominent union member, who reapplied and returned to work.
Correct.
And for those who say that the government is wicked, does a wicked government do that sort of thing? I often ask these sort of questions. I like to ask questions. Sometimes when you ask questions, you may find yourself closer to the answer. Government provided that opportunity last year. We knew that schools were going to be opened, and we said in July, look, you have an opportunity to reapply. Once you reapply, all the benefits intact, you return at the same grade, your same pay scale, You actually return as if you never left. So I ask the question, does a wicked government go down that route? I remember in Antigua, the Prime Minister, Honorable Gaston Brown, told them, is either you take the vaccine or you ain't gonna pay. Straight off the bat like that. You know, there are persons who looked at the Barbados experience. I said that when we were in single digits in terms of vaccination rate, Barbados was already over 50% vaccinated.
Yes.
So all these things, you know, that are very important. And the reason why I talk about the opposition is now that the opposition is saying that if you vote for them, they will not go ahead with the appeal. You know. Well, let me take this call. Good morning, call. Welcome to Shakeup.
Good morning.
Oh, hi, good morning.
Good morning.
I'm just trying to express an opinion I have
Yes.
regarding the judge's decision. In my opinion, the critical issue of our Prime Minister and Cabinet, right? The critical issue is the protection
Yes.
of our children at school. And on the basis of that, I am saying I totally agree with our Prime Minister, because if I have a child, my brother, I am not going to send my child in a pandemic environment to go to school and the teacher isn't vaccinated. And the critical issue that our Prime Minister was exercising is the protection of Vincentians. Maybe I am wrong, right? I don't know the law, but I am saying from a personal perspective, the government have a right to protect Vincentians. And if you're telling me I am not going to have the vaccination, you're telling me that you don't love my children. I don't care what anybody say, but I am saying this, that those teachers there, in my opinion, do not regard my children having the right to be free and be able to overcome the pandemic. And that is what our Prime Minister was trying to say and to do, to protect Vincentians and Vincentians' children. And that is my view.
Thank you.
I am saying this. Thank you, Prime Minister. Thank you, because you have actually indicated to me what I think of our children going to school and be under that kind of epidemic where the teacher is not protecting my son or my daughter. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your contribution. Now, there's another issue, because like I said, we're looking at the week. I saw the police force sent out a release.
Yes.
It says here, investigation launched into video clips being circulated on social media. The Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force is aware of several video clips that are being circulated on social media showing a physical confrontation between two police officers and a civilian who was arrested and in handcuffs. The Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force wishes to inform the public that an investigation has been launched into the matter to unearth the facts and circumstances that may have triggered the incident. The Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force does not condone any acts of violence against members of the public by any member of the constabulary and in due execution of their duties, and thank the public for their continuous support. So that is a release by the RSVP or the Royal St. Vincent and Grenadines Police Force on a matter I'm quite sure you saw.
Definitely.
In terms of a video where you had that confrontation. On the matter of that, though, and crime, I don't know if you got the chance, Charlotte, to listen to Prime Minister of St. Lucia, Honorable Philip Chipierre, where he was calling for everyone to basically join the fight
Yes, yes.
against crime. And he basically told persons who are engaging in what's called political opportunism to stop it, who are trying to politicize the issue of crime. I know the police force here, they're sending some members to assist St. Lucia.
Yes.
Across the region, we have seen an escalation in criminal activity. We have seen an escalation in criminal activity. St. Kitts, St. Lucia, even Grenada, Barbados, and here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And that is why we've often said that crime should not be treated as merely a political issue, because all of us, we should join in the fight against crime. Let us take this call. Good morning, call. Welcome to Shakeup.
Good morning, Mr. Ferdinand.
Good
How are
morning.
you?
Good morning.
Good morning, my brother. Good morning.
Good morning, Chalo.
Good morning, my brother.
All right, I'm still here in bed trying to recuperate and things.
God
You
is
know, I agree with that last caller. The lady, the Prime Minister was simply protecting our
The gentleman.
nation.
good. The last caller was a
Right.
gentleman.
It wasn't the one who said that the Prime Minister was protecting
Yes,
the,
yes, a
Yes,
gentleman.
a gentleman. Yes.
or it was a man?
Yes, yes, yes.
He sound like a woman. Anyhow, apart from that, the Prime Minister went so far and said, okay, if you don't want to take the vaccination, do a test to make sure that you are COVID free. They refuse to do the test, they refuse to take the vaccination. So what else? What else can the Prime Minister do? And what can the government do?
I guess,
You know,
I guess in their opinion, the government should have simply let the virus reign. Who that bury? I think it was Prime Minister Rowling Trinidad who basically got frustrated to a point to say, well, who dead? I think I remember that very well. Maybe that is what some persons actually wanted to happen.
Wanted, but not me, not this one here, not this one here. And Chalo, you know, in the police force, a police cannot be a member of a union. Is that correct?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. Now, I am very much concerned because about a month ago, I met a certain policeman walking up Stony Ground. And I stopped because he was a student at the police training school up in Old Montrose while I was an instructor there.
Yes.
And I say, I always ask him, what are you doing now? Where they have you? He said, boy, I'm home because I didn't take the vaccine. I am very much concerned. Now the police cannot join a union. The only tool they have is the Police Welfare Association.
Yes. But remember,
and what are they doing?
Remember now that the Welfare Association act as a union. They don't really have the powers of a union, but basically they act as a union, and this government allow them in any meeting you have with the unions, the Police Welfare Association are represented.
Okay, in light of what's happening, we told, and I heard the Prime Minister speak about a say in the execution of the judgment.
Yeah.
Right. What about the policemen who they were sent home? What would become of them? Are they at a disadvantage? They will be given the same opportunity to reapply and what's not?
No,
the Police Welfare Association.
No, the police were represented too. No?
Oh, they were represented.
Yeah, they were represented in the
case.
The Police Welfare Association represented. So the two the unions and the Police Welfare Association. So they were represented.
Very well. I didn't know that. Thanks for that information. Right. But I was a bit concerned because there are young policemen who out there who did not take the vaccine and were sent home. So I was wondering if they were at a disadvantage of returning or reapplying for their job or whatever the case may be. But thanks for that information. Okay, Charlie, you have continue. I'm listening.
All right, my brother. Thanks
Thank
for your
you.
contribution.
All right. Cool.
Yes, thank you. You know, I saw a particular comment online, I think by Shama Bacchus, and she said that neighbors and bus drivers weren't vaccinated, so they were still exposed. And Charlie, we made a point earlier. And for those listening, those who may know employment law and the like, and remember in 2017, I believe, we passed what's called Occupational Health and Safety Act.
Yes, correct.
Look, the government did not, and this is why I said yesterday and even prior that I have a problem where persons call it a mandate, because to me it implies that the entire population was mandated to be vaccinated, which isn't and which wasn't the case.
Correct.
What happened is that you had particular categories. It wasn't even all public servants. You had categories of public servants who are deemed to be most at risk based on their job description
Frontline
in
workers.
performing a particular task, who were most at risk in catching COVID-19.
Yes, correct.
So I remember nurses, police officers, port, customs workers, teachers,
Immigration
officers. Those are professionals based on their job descriptions who have to be upfront with people.
Yes.
And most at risk, who are employed by the state.
Yes.
And because the state as the employer has a responsibility as the employer to ensure that in the working environment that it put in place measures to help significantly reduce the risk of an infectious disease based on their job description, who are deemed most at risk. And that's why they were categorized as frontline workers and therefore required to be vaccinated, because the state as the employer has an obligation in ensuring the health and safety of workers.
Correct.
Very important. And that is why I said, had the state not did what it did, it may very well be, again, that someone who died as a result of COVID, and based on contact tracing, it deemed that they caught COVID on the job, that they could say, the family of that relative can say, well, here now, the state as the employer did not put certain measures in place to significantly reduce the risk and spread of a contagious disease, and therefore we are suing the state for failing in their duty in acting what they call a duty of care. You often hear that in terms of negligence and tort. Failure of duty of care to their workers. That is what essentially happened there, Sherma. So yeah, you talk about the bus drivers, etc. Not all public servants were required to be vaccinated. It was those who were deemed most at risk based on their job description, and the employer, which is the state, had a duty of care to those workers. So I hope, again, and like I said, as the pandemic, of course, we're returning to some semblance of normalcy. Last year, we said, based on the assessment and the situation, that persons can reapply and basically return as if these they never left, with the benefits intact, same pay, same grade. So yeah, and that is the situation there. And of course, I play the recording and talk about the stay in the judgment and of course the application for appeal. But the issue of crime, we are seeing an escalation across the Caribbean. I've seen and we've heard the opposition here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines time and time again link the increase in criminal activity to the economic performance of the country, which again I rubbish, because St. Kitts, for example, they normally have significant growth in terms of the economy, but they still have high crime. St. Lucia, As a matter of fact, this year they projected significant growth, but they also have an escalation in criminal activity. So for the opposition leader to say, well, the reason why there's an increase in criminal activity is because of full economic performance. That doesn't bear out. And even last year, we've had a growth in excess of 5%. So it doesn't bear out in any way. The other issue is where he said, well, because of joblessness, that too is false. But let us take this call. Good morning, call. Welcome to Shakeup.
Good morning, Mr. Ferdinand.
Yes, good morning.
Commissioner Charles.
Good morning, my brother. Good morning.
All right, how are you?
And not bad at all.
All right. Mr. Ferdinand,
Greetings.
a lot of people are saying that the government will have to pay the teachers this amount of money. Well, it might run up into millions. But if these teachers and whosoever were involved, if they were still in the work, they had to get paid. Okay? Hello?
I'm listening.
Yes.
Are you hearing you?
I'm listening. You're
I
listening.
was saying they're supposed to get paid.
Yeah,
So,
if they were in the job, still on the job, yeah, they'd be paid,
even
yes.
though it came up to millions that they had to pay back the people then. I don't see no reason that because I somehow or the other money had was to pay out.
Okay.
Are you hearing you?
We're listening. Hello? Oh, no. All right.
Hello?
Okay, I guess I have a problem there. But yeah. But like I said, as the Prime Minister stated before, the issue is that given your appeal in the matter, what happens at the Court of Appeal, it said that, really and truly the workers abandoned the post. Now we're going to get back that money.
And they paid them, yeah.
That was paid, So again, that's a very important point to consider. Chalo, someone is asking, when a video, because we read the release, and you as former commissioner, when a video of the sort is released, what is expected by the police when these things surface?
Well, first, we have to check out the authenticity of the video. And regardless to what, the investigation had to be launched. Because once it involved the police in terms of brutality and so on, we have to investigate it and get to the bottom of it, really.
Okay.
And I'm happy that the commissioner and the hierarchy of the police force didn't waste time. They get to trying to get to the bottom of it. Yes.
Okay. All right. So someone said they want to, so let's replay. Okay. All right. Let's replay the third one. Yeah.
Please explain the importance and significance of also filing the accompanying stay of execution of judgment.
Well, the reason why you have to file this stay of execution is obvious. The judge ruled that you have to, those who are deemed to have abandoned, that is null and void. So you'd have to pay them for the 15 months. And that is not the only issue. If you don't get the stay of the execution of the judgment, and you have to re-employ them, but it turns out finally that they had abandoned. And if they don't want to be re-employed because they had abandoned, you have those persons still being on the payroll. Now, let me say this. As a matter of policy, I don't mind if the persons reapplying, or indicating that they want to come back. Even after we get a stay, if we get the stay. But the issue is, if you are rightly deemed to have abandoned, but because the judge said no, the judge at first instance, that people get their pay, not having work, how are you going to get back that money?
Again, that's so based on the I think that is what the last caller issues will touch that.
Yes.
On that matter. But like I said, in relation to crime, there's no one cause for criminal activity. There's no one factor. It's multi-dimensional. And the political opportunism, I saw there are some ads even put out by this thing, get rid of them, trying to politicize the issue of crime. Look, Charlo, I'm not too sure whether you would have come across it. There's also a theory of urbanization and modernization and crime, where it says that basically as you modernize, crime tend to be more sophisticated and also increase. There's that theory.
There's an old school of thought that as you develop,
yes,
as a country develops and so on, there might be an increase in crime.
Yes,
a lot of criminal activity.
That's the same theory.
Yes.
So there's that. And of course, it suggests that, the state do various things, advancing surveillance, what have you, investigation, etc. I heard a lawyer of the name Jamali John. He was on an interview, and he said some things, and it's similar to what PM Gonzalez said some time back on crime. And if you look at the stats, unlike what the opposition trying to say, well, the reason why we have increase in criminal activity is because unemployment or the economy or what have you. He said, if you look, that many persons who commit crime, they're either from a single parent home where the father is absent. And actually, I believe he actually emphasized on the importance of a father present in the life of a child. So he said that's one. He said educational attainment of the individual, where it is less likely or least likely you'll find someone who attain advanced tertiary education committing crime. He also suggested that. The other one, he said, it is least likely that if you find that someone engaged in youth organization,
yes,
that they also go towards crime. But talking about youth organizations, Charlo, and we see more police youth clubs that are emerging across St. Vincent and Grenadines, which I believe, and you can of course shed light on that given your profession. Basically tell us what the police youth club is all about and the focus of it.
Well, it's actually trying to bring up the youth in the straight and narrow, in terms of discipline and other things really, and allowing them to interact with each other, with the peers, and so on, and also the parents. And what we see in some communities, because of the police youth club, where there was a distance in between the police and the public per se, because of these youth clubs, we see a lot of parents now. The society is getting more attached and bringing the children to the police as they join the police youth club. So it really, and what can it express the impact it is having, right? And this, I must say, Sergeant Billy is doing a marvelous job. They had the football competition between the youth clubs, and right now they're having a netball competition. And I mean, it is doing wonders. And not only bringing the youths together, it's bringing the society, the whole community. So it's a win-win situation.
What if I told you? What if I told you that there's the talk that the police youth club is to try and get young people into the Unity Labour Party?
Nonsense.
But don't worry, I'll bring that recording next week. Don't worry, I'll bring that recording next week. But like I said, that's the talk. But I know that it's doing a lot of wonders. I was privy to a meeting. I think there's significant focus in the central Kingston and West Kingston constituencies.
Yes.
So it's really good what they're doing. I see it as a crime prevention initiative as well, and helping with in terms of public relations of the force.
Just going back and that statement you made about getting the youth into political party. By and large, some of the persons, the coordinators, not the police, the civilians, they're from both sides of the political spectrum. So it's not to say that, okay, it's a ULP, NDP thing. It's people in the community. And so I don't think that this is the road to go, trying to politicize the police youth club. That's a step in the wrong direction.
I agree. And I see it maybe as a ploy to try and dissuade persons from participating. There are those who are interested in problem solving, and there are those who are simply interested in what's called mayhem, But we'll take a break, pay some bills, and then resume with Shakeup Radio program.
The flavor nice, it's locally made. Affordable price, Lord, up to $3 retail. When you see we lining with the red and white case, show me what you like. It's cigarette from Empire, Holdings Limited. It's cigarette from Empire, Holdings Limited. With over 60 years experience, hold the best tobacco, best ingredients. This is your boy Lou to say, support local, buy your cigarettes from Empire Holdings Limited. 10 cigarettes in a pack for up to $3 retail. Remember, smoking is not for minors.
Introducing the new and exciting line of refreshingly healthy drinks. Look for
the Blue Waters brand.
Available right now at your leading grocery stores and supermarkets.
Blue Waters juice drink.
In sparkling cran apple, cran grape, or cran lime.
Blue Waters also produce a line of cranberry-infused beverages with lime, apple, grape, and more.
There's also bottled water in various sizes. Also, look for the juice drinks from Blue Waters in orange, pink grapefruit, apple, and grape.
Blue Waters brand.
Local agents, log enterprises. Call us today at telephone number 784-456-2936. Located in Lower Middle Street, Rose Place, Kingstown.
Of the bulge, take a breath of fresh air and embrace a new lease on life. Oxygen Fitness Center is here, located in the Camden Park Industrial Estate in the Green Building, next door to the government printery. Our range of fitness equipment and programs were carefully selected to meet your needs. Take a leap of faith today. Oxygen Fitness Center has the answers to your fitness needs. Check us out on Facebook and Instagram, or call us at 457-8333.
Let's get your laundry clean and fresh with the widest range of washing machines and dryers in SVG. At Singer, choose between our West Point and Speed Queen brands with an array of washing machines with payments starting as low as $92 per month. Your laundry room wouldn't be complete without a Whirlpool or Speed Queen electric or gas-operated dryer, saving your energy consumption. Also in stock is our West Point washer-dryer combo for only $136 per month. One machine that does the work of two. No need to change machines, just toss in your laundry and forget about it. Whether your preference in machines is top-loading or front-loading, whether you want a 9 kilogram or a larger 15 kilogram washer, whether you're looking for a gas or electric dryer, we've got it all at Singer. Visit us today and get the washing machine and dryer that's perfect for you. Singer, your family company.
General Hardware still has the best prices on steel, lumber, and plywood. So go on, compare prices. And if by chance you find a better price, no stress. Just talk to the General, and they will beat that price plus give you special priority delivery. Yes, General Hardware offers free island-wide delivery on most purchases, so you never have to worry about getting your goods on site on time. Plus, shopping at General Hardware is a pleasant experience with friendly, knowledgeable staff always ready to serve. What more could you wish for, huh? So So come to General Hardware for proper service, lowest prices, free delivery, and see why nobody beats the General. Nobody.
Hola, amigos! The Awesome Family Circus comes to SVG. Bring the whole family to the Victoria Park on the Easter weekend for 4 spectacular shows on April 8th at 6 p.m. Then on Sunday, April 9th, also at 6 p.m. And on Monday, April 10th, get ready for 2 massive shows. Starting time 5 p.m. and 7:30 p.m. featuring the world's famous circus performers. Come and enjoy great family entertainment with clowns, magicians, acrobats, and much, much more. It's the Awesome Family Circus, sponsored by Vitable, the NLA, in collaboration with Easy Bake, Island Sense, Coca-Cola, Digicel, and Ticket Pal.
99.9, the heart and soul of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. WEFM is SVG.
So yes, we are back in studio of WEFM. I am your host, Augustine Ferdinand, and in studio with me is none other than comrade Michael Charles. Well, Charlo, we are winding down to 12 o'clock here in studio of WEFM. On Sunday the 26th, the Unity Labour Party will be having its huge rally, its celebration rally of 22 years in government, and already hearing the ads, many persons are already organizing themselves, they read, etc. You know, when I saw the poster being released, I never see one poster that really and truly make some people vex. I mean, I don't know what it is, but I mean, I never see a particular poster that have some people so angry and so vexed. But you know, I think I understand the frustration in all of it. I always say it's not easy being in opposition, much less being in opposition for so many years. It's 22 years. That's a record-breaking thing, you know. 22 years in opposition. And it seems as though they're very comfortable with opposition that they'll be going again for opposition, you know. And even their supporters are saying that. I've heard many things also saying, boy, with the opposition doing what have you. That's their business. I really don't concern. They could continue the way they're going. But 22 years in government is not an easy feat. Yeah. And as I was saying yesterday, that we have many challenges over the many years. We still have challenges. And despite those challenges, we continue to move forward as a country. But Charlie, when you reflect, you know, you look at 22 years in government and what we've achieved as a government, as a political party, you have to, in your reflection, say to yourselves, well, wow, you know, despite the challenges, we got many things done, you know.
Correct.
For instance, there are those who forgot when many persons went abroad under what's called then the Vision Now program. And that was to treat persons who had eye cataract and other ailments of the eye in Cuba. Then, when you look across St. Vincent and the Grenadines, you look at our housing stock, you see at Peter's Hope, Charlo, when you go up to the leeward side and you look across at Peter's Hope, remember at first it used to be a heart shape. Now you don't see the heart shape anymore. And when you drive through that community, you also it's a gated community, huh? First off, a gated community and the quality homes that are there. First government housing project, Unity Labour Party. Similarly to you have Diamond, you have also in Central Kingston up Green Hill. There are persons who forgot, and it's very good to go down to memory lane, that there was once upon a time, you had a lot of frequent blackouts. There are some persons who even today don't even know what kerosene oil is. Some young persons. I remember, Charlo, I remember when I used to have to go. You have the gas station still there at Grand Bazaar. They used to sell kerosene oil.
Yes.
And then after that, I think I used to go by this lady in Chinatown. And that was to go and put in your lantern and your flabo to get light. Now, because of the progress made, where at the time only 78% of persons were connected to the grid, is now over 98% connected to the national grid, electricity grid. We've progressed so much that before, many persons caught public transportation. I mean, still we have a good bit of people catching public transportation, but now we have parking issues, Charlo. And not just parking issues in the capital city, but basically where you live.
Yes.
That is how we've progressed and transformed under the Unity Labour Party government. And that is why when you hear I remember what's her name, Senator John, when she stood up in Parliament and said, well, the middle class in this country has declined significantly. I asked myself, well, if the middle class declines significantly, tell me who are not buying them vehicles, who are not building those homes, who are not getting those jobs. Not foreigners, it's local Vincentians. And they have parking issues. You have to get a loan. And in order to get a loan, you have to show that you are making income to repay that loan. And because of that, we see across in Vincent and the Grenadines, many auto shops and car washes opening. There are persons who said, well, people want to pay for paid parking. Right now, paid parking always full.
Especially Friday mornings.
Paid parking full.
By 9 o'clock.
Oh, no, I could tell you Solidarity car park full.
Yes, by 9 this morning.
Yeah, that's how we've transformed as a country. We had National Heroes Day on Tuesday. Is this government who declared Paramount Joseph Shattey as national hero? You can imagine that. Hundreds of years after, only this government, and we are looking to make more persons who have made significant national contributions as heroes. And that discussion is ongoing. We see some nice playing fields across the country. I hear some persons say the government ain't doing nothing for sports. We have sports scholarship and all.
and talking that Green Hills
yes,
supposed to be handing over Saturday.
Exactly, and I witnessed the large turnout for the netball tournaments that they had up there. And Dominic Sutherland, he did a fantastic job also with the organizing and all of that. Cumberland is a wonderful cricket ground. We have next month, and I heard the press secretary to the Prime Minister, he called in on a program and spoke about it. The amount of persons who will be coming because of cricket. And the demand for rooms that will create. Yeah. These things are happening in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Look at Chile playing field. Victoria Park. How many persons remember how really Victoria Park used to look? Like I said, I used to play football as a midfielder. if you ain't careful, you drop down in a big hole, or you get caught by galvanized. That ain't no joke. Thanks to the National Lotteries Authority, etc. Victoria Park is a wonderful venue. Nice green grass. Used to wonder if whether it's grass the Victoria Park or is more mud. Because that used to be Victoria Park, more mud than anything else. Sometimes we forget these things, I believe, Charlo. And of course, we saw the heats and school sports out at Diamond.
Yes.
How far we've come. We have a Coast Guard base in Canawan. We have a small base now in Beckway. And that was recently done the other day. We have sea ambulance, medevac vessels.
Yes.
We have offshore patrol vessel to assist in terms of border security. Over 1,000 police officers currently. You have persons who, hundreds of them receiving scholarships. 940 bursaries and 74 national scholarships. Sometimes you forget these things. We have so many media entities now today, Charlo. You know, after you hear some persons say that there's no... I sometimes wonder how some persons actually look at democracy and think... I sometimes believe they believe democracy is that they could say whatever they want to say and nobody else can rebut them.
Yeah.
It don't work so. You hear some persons say there's no democracy or freedom in St. Vincent and Grenadines. I think St. Vincent is one of the most freest countries in the world. You see whatever you want on Facebook. You see whatever you want on radio these days. You have so many programs on radio. Nice Radio, Hot 97, Extreme. You have here on WEFM, Star FM, NBC. You have Boom. And all these radio stations, they have radio programs geared towards social and political commentary.
Yes.
And they air them also on social media. Or we could say there's no freedom, nor democracy, and people calling on them and give their views. Every top member guy is in Parliament live. In some instances, even though the questions before the Parliament start too. Before these things didn't really happen. Under the NDP used to hear Parliament during budget exercise. Estimates, expenditure, etc. Other than that, we're always going to prison if you're trying to hear Parliament. Arrested and charged. So I sometimes hear some persons say, oh, we live in another dictatorship. Show me what the dictatorship they know. You yourself talking that. Show the freedom you have. You think you could live under a dictatorship and you talking about we live under a dictatorship? By the time you open your mouth to say dictator, you're arrested. But you're free. You have online and the traditional printed media. St. Vincent Times, Eyewitness News, Searchlight also have the online thing. You have One News St. Vincent now. And then you have the traditional newspaper, newspaper, the Vincentian, etc. All these are tenants of a thriving democracy. And as usual, many persons were accustomed to many press conferences, and the media ask the Prime Minister and ministers questions putting into policies, initiatives of the government. The Prime Minister come here on WEFM on a Sunday. You ask him questions. He does the same on NBC on Wednesday. I mean, and you still believe that there's no democracy or transparency in St. Vincent and Grenadines? Like zeros? Come on, man. Come on. And then you have a tremendous growth in small businesses. Very important, huh? And we see not only Capital City, Kingston, and places like Paul's Avenue, where you have more small businesses opening up. You have Annesville, you have Diamond, you have in Richland Park, you have in Caldacqua, you have in Georgetown, you have in Barley and Layu.
Yes.
Where small businesses and commercial activity is happening. And as they have more hotels and more investments in the country, you'll have more of that. These are what you call transformative initiatives now taking place, transforming the country. Because you have more people coming. If you go online and you type Airbnb apartments in St. Vincent and Grenadines, it's a lot.
Yes.
And you may ask, well, what Airbnb is about? It's basically a platform that enables an apartment owner to register their apartment online. And anyone around the world, once they're looking to come to St. Vincent and Grenadines, they can go on Airbnb, look for a room. Of course, Airbnb take a cut and you get the rest. That's how it works. Simple as that, globalization at work and technology. Mm-hmm. And you have many, hundreds of those registered on Airbnb. Some of them don't pay taxes, but there's another issue altogether. But they're making a living. They're making a living. And I think the press secretary also talk about that. And where, of course, you will have to upgrade certain things. You know, and operate like a mini hotel too. You have your towels and you may have something in the fridge and thing, you know. Mm-hmm. Be very hospitable. But that is what is happening. Transformation of our economy, transformation of how we do things, how we think. You have a lot of skills training taking place. As much as you hear the NDP talk about, oh, what are we doing with skills and all of that, I don't think there has ever been a time you have so many programs in skills being done in our history. You have many options now. If you don't want adulthood, you could try YATE. If you don't want to do YATE, you could try Sky. You have the usual TechVac. You just register to do a particular course. Mm-hmm. And I can tell you that through the Ministry of Education, they had this thing, Skills for Work initiative, in collaboration with Commonwealth of Learning out of Canada, I believe, where you sign up for in pursuing different skills online, programs like Coursera and Udemy. I see many options now. And I know they normally do it as a 6 months program. You can do as many skills as you want. And that is through the Ministry of Education and Commonwealth of Learning. So when I hear the opposition say, oh, government doing with skills, clearly you're listening, you know what's going on. And that is why among these many initiatives, you have, of course, the international airport, you have decentralization of health services, bringing health services closer to communities and persons. And talking about that, I just want persons to know that based on a release sent out, the Milton Cato Hospital will only be doing outpatient X-ray services for patients from the Grenadines. And they said that all other outpatient X-rays would be done at Bookman Polyclinic or Levi Latham Health Center. You hear where we're going now?
Exactly.
You hear where we're going now? Yeah, some of them like my MP who does always try to bad talk health, and he, you know, it's always a strange thing, you know. It's always a strange thing. I remember, and Charles, I don't know if you remember this, when MP Daniel Cummins stood up in Parliament and said, is a reason why the hospital they near the cemetery. Well, who built the hospital near the cemetery? Tell me who put up the hospital near the cemetery. Eh? The very same NDP. Sometimes does really make you wonder, though. But you have these extra services now. Bookman Polyclinic leave later. Bringing services closer to you, the people, outside of urban, suburban areas. But you have to go hard, Daniel Cummins and the NDP talk to bad talk. And the thing is, you're getting these services at heavily subsidized cost. You can go Georgetown Modern Medical, you get colonoscopy, chemotherapy, kidney dialysis, also heavily subsidized cost. Healthcare in St. Vincent and Grenadines. And again, you will go in the hospital and don't pay a bill. But there's a whole lot of issue again.
Definitely.
But you want everything, but you don't want to pay a bill. I'm going to talk that today. So, this is the St. Vincent and Grenadines. This government has created. They have the smart hospital in Chateaubelair. You have the smart clinic in Barley. You have the Celine Clouden smart hospital in Union. All these things we've done, and we pay people to learn. Imagine that. Pay nurses to learn. We pay teachers to learn. We're paying persons to learn a skill. Giving them a little something, a stipend, to learn a skill. Wherever you're hearing that in the Caribbean. Paying people to learn. That's where you basically go on an apprenticeship program and they say you benefit by learning something. Here in St. Vincent and Grenadines, you benefit in two ways. You're getting money while at the same time learning a skill.
Correct.
Boy, what a time in this country. But the NDP will go up in parliament and tell you, oh, yeah, the MP for Southern Grenadines like to come in and say, oh, what is the government doing pertaining to skills? Or the leader of the opposition will say, well, the government not doing anything and they're just focusing on university. Huh? So, all these, and of course, you have in agriculture, you have in the blue economy. You have persons now getting more fishing vessels. You have those who are working at rainforest seafood. You have those in lobster pot production. You have those who are receiving tractor services and hand tiller services. You have those engaged in medical cannabis. Transformation. And at the same time, Charlie, we had to recover. And we ain't even recover yet. We're talking about, homes and all of that. We're still constructing homes.
Yes, that's
because of volcanic eruptions and a whole 32 eruptions. The pandemic itself have to deal with sea defense and river defense. And you still have to deal with the obstructionist to progress, which is the NDP. As a matter of fact, I don't think if you put sea defense issues and river defense issues, the major obstruction to our progress in St. Vincent and Grenadines is the NDP and the leader of the opposition. Major obstruction. But like I said yesterday, God is at work. And on November 5th last year, God knew what he was doing in speaking to the people to return the Unity Labour Party for a 5th consecutive term, because he knew that only Dr. Alfie Gonzalez and the Unity Labour Party could have dealt in dealing with the after effects of volcanic eruptions and, of course, in stirring us through the pandemic as well. Knew that.
Well said.
So, on Sunday the 26th, everyone put on the red hat, the red banner, the red jersey, the red shoes, the red pants, the red socks, and come out at Titi Joshua Tarmac and let's celebrate 22 years of good and excellent governance. We have all reasons to celebrate. And given that the poster hotting up the head already, let us hot up the head even further and show them that they're facing the 6th in a row. And they'll just have to accept that as the reality. Charlo, any last words?
Just to say that we should people, everyone who listening to WEFM, happy weekend. And hopefully to see you guys at the Iti Joshua Tarmac.
Yeah, man.
On Sunday.
On the 26th of March. Thank you very much, technician. And those of you who called in and interacted with us here on program of WEFM Shakeup program. Thank you. Take care. Be safe. And have a blessed afternoon.
The flavor nice, it's locally made. Affordable price, Lord, up to $3 retail. When you see we line with the red and white girl.